Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be going over all of Adult 5 from the Adult 1 through 6 Learn to Skate series. If you are new, hi, my name is Ava. I'm a competitive adult figure skater here in the US. I post new skating related videos every week, so make sure you follow along for more. First, a really quick disclaimer, I am not a certified coach. I do have experience teaching Learn to Skate, but I am just another skater sharing some tips for the Adult 1 through 6 levels. This is not meant to replace lessons or coaching of any kind. I highly encourage you to go sign up for a Learn to Skate class, so I will leave that information in the description box below. Now we can get into the video. The first item that we have in Adult 5 is very similar to Adult 4. It is those outside and inside edges on a circle, except this time we'll be going backwards. I went over a lot of the details for these inside and outside edges going forward in Adult 4, so for this level I won't be going into those details as much because it's basically the same, but I will talk about how to maintain the glide going backwards and some tips and tricks to make it a little bit easier. To start our backward outside edge on the circle, you're going to do that backwards half swizzle pump that we talked about in Adult 4. So we're going to stand with our arms facing the inside of the circle, we're going to have that outside foot slightly pigeon-toed, we're going to push it away from us, and when we bring it back for that 2-foot glide in between, we're actually going to pick it up into a 1-foot glide, and you're going to try and hold it on the circle as long as you can. Make sure when you do this that you're not looking down at your feet, you're not looking in front of you, you're actually looking slightly over your shoulder in the direction you are going, and in this case we are going backwards. Keep practicing this on the circle. Each time try and make your 1-foot glide a little bit longer. Once you feel comfortable with that, try adding 4 to 6 half swizzle pumps into that 1-foot glide. You will notice that you will go a lot further around the circle than you were with that one push. Make sure that you're also bending your knees just like those half swizzle pumps I talked about in the Adult 4 video, so you can get a lot more speed and momentum into this 1-foot glide. Next, we have our backward inside edges on the circle. Again, this is very similar to that forward inside edge around the circle, except this time we are going backwards. For this, we're also going to start with that backwards half swizzle pump. You're going to do the same thing by pigeon-toeing your foot and pushing it away from you. This time when you bring your feet together for the 2-foot glide, instead of picking up the foot that we just used to pump, you're going to pick up the foot on the inside of the circle. When doing this, you want to make sure that your arms are up in that nice T position. They're hugging the inside of the circle. You also want to make sure that your head is facing over your back shoulder in the direction you are going. Don't forget to keep your free leg nice and close to the leg that is skating on the ice. You want to make sure that it's not flailing around so you don't lose your balance. You want to make sure everything is nice and tight, and just like I've always said, make sure that you're engaging your core while you're doing this. Practice this with the 1 swizzle pump a few times around the circle till you feel completely comfortable with that. Once you do, try adding 4 pumps, then 6 pumps, then 8 pumps, just like we did with our backwards outside edge, and just keep working your way up where you can hold it longer and get a little bit more speed going into it. Make sure to keep practicing both the backward outside and inside edges around the circle because it's very important for your backward crossovers, and the more comfortable you feel with these, the more comfortable you will be with your backward crossovers. Next, we have our backward crossovers, and I know these can be a little bit challenging, but I will try my best, just like I always do, to break it down into simple, easy steps that will hopefully make you a little bit more comfortable with this. Just like our forward crossovers, you can start working on these by practicing that grapevine that I had talked about in the Adult 4 video. I'll briefly go over it here, but I highly suggest going back and watching that video if you'd like a more in-depth tutorial about it. In the Adult 4 video, we talked about slowly doing our grapevine going forward around the circle to mimic our forward crossovers. For our backward crossovers, we're going to do roughly the same thing, except there are a few things we're going to change for this. You're going to want to make sure that your arms are still hugging the inside of the circle. Turn your head slightly over your back shoulder, facing the inside of the circle in the direction you are going. You are going to take the foot outside the circle and cross it over the other one, bringing it inside. You are then going to pick up the foot that you haven't picked up yet and bring it right next to the other one so your feet are parallel in a 2-foot glide. Like I mentioned earlier, this grapevine is the exact same as the forward grapevine around the circle, except this time we are looking over our back shoulder and we are walking backwards, doing the exact same grapevine motion. For your backward crossovers, the foot following the line of the circle should not be crossing outside the circle. Now we're going to move on to the half swizzle pump method, which is going to create the same feeling as our backward crossover. We're just not doing the full crossover yet. For this, we're going to do our 1 backward half swizzle pump around the circle. When you bring your feet together after the half swizzle pump, you are going to lift your foot up into a 1-foot glide. You are then going to take it from the 1-foot glide and cross it over the foot that is following the circle. You are then going to take the foot that is following the circle and bring it around so it's parallel to the foot that you just crossed over, making a 2-foot glide. Practice this around the circle a few times in in both directions. Gradually work your way up to the point where you do not need to take breaks or stop in between each time you do this. Once you feel comfortable with that, we are now going to move on to the complete backward crossover. For the backward crossovers, you are going to push just like you would for that backward half swizzle pump, except this time you're going to continue to cross that foot all the way in front of the other one. While you are doing this, you are going to push that foot that is following the circle out and to the side. You are then going to bring the foot that you pushed out to the side around back towards the inside of the circle and start the process all over again. I can definitely make a more detailed video all about crossovers because I know this can be completely confusing. A common mistake a lot of beginners make when they're first learning the crossovers is trying to do that half swizzle pump with the outside foot while also making a half swizzle going inside the circle to push their foot out. Instead of doing that, you want to make a sweeping motion and push that foot that was following the circle straight out to the side. I'll try to find a video of me doing a bad example from when I first started, and I did this because some stranger in hockey skates came up to me in an open skate and told me that is how back crossovers work, and because I was learning by myself at that time, I totally believe that is the motion of back crossovers when it is not. Yes, there are 2 pushes to your back crossover, but you are not going to do a half swizzle pump one way and a half swizzle pump the other way. This will just make your backward crossovers extremely frustrating and challenging, and it won't have the normal flow that you want. Next, we have the forward outside 3-turn both left and right. I'll probably end up making a more extensive video on 3 turns in the future because they can be a little bit tricky and difficult when you're first learning them. First, you're going to want to start in your T position and you're going to do a T push. You are then going to do a 1-foot glide, but instead of doing a 1-foot glide in a straight line, you are going to do that curved outside edge that we worked on in Adult 4. The next part is probably the trickiest part, and that is doing the actual 3-turn. This is a turn made on 1 foot going from forwards to backwards. I recommend using one of the hockey goals at either end of the rink to start working on your 3 turns. Before we start working on our 3 turns, we're just going to practice a couple 2-foot turns on this half circle. With this, you want to make sure that you're focusing on your body position, where your arms are. You want to make sure that you're bending your knees and you're twisting so you're turning inside the circle. Once you feel comfortable with this 2-foot turn, we're going to add a little bit of a 1-foot glide to our 2-foot turn to get us ready for this 3-turn. You're going to start with a forward outside edge 1-foot glide. When we reach the top of our circle, we're going to put both our feet down and do a 2-foot turn. And then we're going to pick up the same foot, doing the backward inside edge that we worked on earlier. Make sure when you're doing this that you're keeping your arms controlled and not flailing them around, and also make sure that you're engaging your core like I talked about in the Adult 4 video. You also want to make sure that you're still standing up nice and tall when you're going into it and when you're coming out of it on the 1 foot. Keep working on this and progressively make the time between your 2-foot turn and picking up your foot or putting your foot down quicker, so it mimics the motion of our 3-turn. When you do your 3-turn, you will not be putting your foot down at the top of the circle. You will keep it up the whole time and make the turn on 1 foot. Keep working on this and eventually you'll be able to do it without any problems. The last 2 items on Adult 5 are forward outside swing rolls to the count of 6 and the beginning of a 2-foot spin. Now, when I was filming this, for some reason, I completely forgot that swing rolls were on the adult levels. This is because on the regular Learn to Skate levels, there is absolutely no dance items at all on those. I still have no clue why they decided to put them on the adult, and I know that they recently revamped the adult Learn to Skate items and they still kept those on there, so I'm not 100% sure about that, but I completely forgot. So I can either make a separate series of the dance 1 through 6 levels, or I can recommend some really great YouTube videos you can watch if you seriously do want to learn these swing rolls. However, I didn't learn those until after I had passed my pre-bronze and bronze moves in the field test, so I personally don't think that you need to know those for the adult 1 through 6 levels, but if you're someone that wants to work on everything on the list, definitely go for it. I'll leave some videos that I recommend that will explain that a little bit better than probably I can in the description box below. And for the 2-foot spin, I already have a full video on my channel going completely in depth on how to do a 2-foot spin, so rather than putting that basically all over again in this video, I'll just leave a link somewhere here and you can go watch it. Well, that is it for Adult 5. I'll see you next weekend for Adult 6. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I post new skating related videos every week, and every Saturday I will be uploading a video for the Adult 1 through 6 Learn to Skate series.